Are you tired of being tired during the day or after your training session? Are you looking for a quick and easy way to boost your energy, muscle mass, and strength? Do you tend to skip breakfast because you just don't have the time? In today's episode, I'm going to share with you 5 muscle-building breakfasts you can easily meal prep, and some take less than 5 minutes to make. After incorporating these recipes into your daily routine, you'll be able to easily build muscle and lose body fat, have mental clarity, energy, and better performance. Sounds like a dream, right? You'll want to take some notes, so open the Notes app on your phone and let's get started.
Do you wish you could look like you train as much as you do? Are you sick of scouring the internet for sports nutrition tips only to find information tailored to men? Do you wish there was a simple solution to fueling your body for your activity level? Are you ready to find freedom with food? It is possible to have balance between fueling your body for your sport and for enjoyment, and it's not as complicated as you may think. Can we say hello, food freedom? There's a way to have it all and eat your cake too, and I'm going to show you how. Hey, I'm Kristen, a former multi-sport athlete, a sports dietitian, personal trainer, and Jesus lover. In this podcast, you will find practical, sustainable fueling tips for female athletes that will set you free from diet culture, an ever-changing set of nutrition rules, underfueling, and underperforming. You'll learn how to put together a fueling plan that works for you, that doesn't require all the rules, tracking every morsel of food you consume, letting food consume your every thought, with Jesus at the center of it all. If you're ready to find a sustainable nutrition plan that works for you with your active lifestyle and is tailored to your unique physiology, break free from diet culture, and finally feel comfortable in your own skin, this podcast is for you. Whip up that smoothie, lace up your shoes, and let's jump in.
Of all the people that I've talked to over the years that struggle to get in certain meals, it seems like breakfast always tops the list because people are busy and they just don't have time to put together a meal in the morning. And so it's either the choice of grabbing like a quick granola bar or maybe some cereal or something along those lines, or just nothing at all. So today is all about 5 muscle building breakfast that you can meal prep ahead of time and save them for later so that you don't have to recreate the wheel later on in the week or even the next week. So let's talk about first why you even need to eat breakfast, because I know intermittent fasting right now is a big deal and people are skipping breakfast left and right because they want to lose weight. And I'm here to tell you that is not a good situation or your best bet, especially as a female athlete. So first of all, eating breakfast is going to give you better energy levels. It's going to boost your energy levels. So breakfast, of course, is going to provide essential nutrients and energy to kickstart the day. And so that way you are going to feel more energized for whatever the day brings. Maybe that's a training session, maybe that's school, maybe that's work, whatever it is, you're going to have more mental clarity and more energy to take on the day. There was a study that was done years ago that I read about where they interviewed doctors, or followed doctors rather, and some of the doctors ate breakfast and some of them didn't. The doctors were all surgeons, and the surgeons that did not eat breakfast had more malpractice cases against them than those that did eat breakfast. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to have surgery, I want the surgeon that actually ate breakfast, that can think straight and doesn't have that brain fog, rather than somebody that didn't eat breakfast. My personal opinion. Number 2 is improved performance. So eating breakfast, basically because it's going to give you energy, is going to help you with your performance for your workouts. And you may think, well, I'm not, training until later on in the day. This isn't going to affect me, but it actually is. You have to think about what you eat over the course of the entire day is going to make up a lot more of your diet versus just what you eat directly before your workout. So what you eat 90% of the time is really going to make a huge difference in your performance even later on in the day. Because what winds up happening is people that skip breakfast or skip meals, they wind up getting into kind of like this deficit and a pit. And so by the time they get to their training session, their body is so deprived and they're hungry and they don't have enough energy levels to really push themselves during their training session. So then you're really never getting better at your sport, or you're not building the muscle that you want to build, or whatever your goals are, you're not hitting them because you're not eating earlier in the day. You need to space out your meals throughout the day. Number 3 is improved metabolism. So this is going back to that whole intermittent fasting thing where people think, oh, well, if I just skip breakfast, I'm going to lose weight. And yeah, it'll help you to lose weight up front, but eventually your body's going to figure out how to work around that. And it's not going to be burning those calories anymore because your body knows it's not going to get the food. So instead of it burning off, a couple hundred calories in the morning, it's not burning off anything anymore. So you have to eat to keep your metabolism fired up. Number 4 is muscle recovery. So including protein in the morning at breakfast is actually going to help aid in muscle recovery and repair, especially after a morning workout. Number 5 is your weight management. So research shows if you eat breakfast, you actually are going to be leaner than those that don't eat breakfast. So this really throws the whole fasted cardio rule out the window or, skipping breakfast to lose weight. It's not going to help you. And especially as a female, your body is going to produce more cortisol because it's not getting breakfast. Cortisol is your stress hormone and your body's under stress because it's not getting what it needs. So it's going to produce more cortisol, which can actually lead to more fat gain. Number 6 is improved mood and cognition function. So of course, if we are feeding our bodies and feeding our brains are going to work better. And that largely controls our mood and, of course, our cognition. Number 7 is nutritional balance. So breakfast is going to just give you a time to get in the nutrients that your body needs. And that is the case with any meal. You really want to make sure that you are spacing out your food over the course of the day and not just not eating earlier in the day and then having a huge meal later on or vice versa. You want to evenly space it out over the course of the day. Number 8 is hormonal balance. So eating regular meals, including breakfast, can actually help to regulate your hormones that are important for energy levels and mood and overall health, particularly during your menstrual cycle. If you ever notice that you're more hungry or craving sweets or whatever during your menstrual cycle, this is why, because your body burns more calories during that time and your body needs it. So don't deprive your body. Number 9 is sustained energy throughout the day. I'm not just talking about at practice or training sessions. I'm talking about just completely throughout the day. If you're skipping meals, that your body's just not going to have the energy that it needs to make it through the day. So let's get into what these 5 breakfasts are that you can meal prep. And these are ones that have been my go-tos over the years that I really like. They're super easy and they're super easy to meal prep and just save for a later time. So, and let me also say that each one of them is going to be a complete meal. You don't need to add in extra things to make it a complete meal. All of them are going to contain carbohydrates, protein, and fats. And you really need all of those to build muscle and enough calories too. You want to make sure that you're getting enough of everything so that your body can build muscle. Everybody thinks it's all about protein. And yes, you do need protein, but you need carbohydrates as well because carbohydrates actually get stored in your muscle and that helps to build muscle. And carbohydrates are muscle sparing, which means that it prevents your muscle from getting broken down. If you're not eating enough carbohydrates, your body will actually go after your own muscle mass as a fuel source. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough of that. Plus, fat is needed for hormones, and hormones are really involved in every process in our body. So let's get to the first one. Number 1 is an oatmeal pancake. So all you need to do here is get some quick oats, or you can use rolled oats as well. The rolled oats are going to give this more of like a crunchier texture or like a texture. So I prefer to use quick oats. If you don't have quick oats on hand, you can just run your rolled oats through the food processor. And so I usually make these based off of like a single serving. So you could just double, triple, quadruple the recipe, whatever you want to do. So for one serving, I usually use somewhere between a quarter to a half a cup of oats. And then I use about 2 to 3 eggs, depending on the amount of oats that I'm using. So if I'm going to use a quarter cup of oats, I'll use 2 whole eggs. If I'm going to use more like a half a cup of eggs, I'm going to use 3 eggs. And so from there, I add a little bit of cinnamon, and that's basically it. I just mix it all up in a bowl and I pour it into a pan and flatten it out like a pancake. Let it cook for a couple minutes, flip it over, let it cook for a couple minutes on the other side, and that's it. And then if I want to meal prep these and save them for later, all I need to do is get a piece of foil and just wrap them in foil and stick them in the fridge, or you can even stick them in the freezer and save them for, a month from now or whatever you want to do. So super easy. Then when I'm ready to eat them, I just pull them out. I put a little bit of peanut butter on top, a little bit of maple syrup, and that's it. So oatmeal pancakes, they're delicious and they're very easy. Number 2 is a breakfast bake. So a breakfast bake is where you're going to get a casserole dish or a pie dish. I get the shredded hash brown potatoes, or if you wanted to use sweet potatoes, that's fine too. I put them down on the bottom layer of the casserole dish. Make sure that you do add a little bit of oil or butter so that everything doesn't stick. Add a layer of that on the bottom, and then you're going to take whatever vegetables that you have on hand. It could be mushrooms, it could be bell peppers, it could be onions, tomatoes, broccoli, whatever you have on hand, you can throw it in there, put them on top of the shredded potatoes, and then you're going to use eggs. You're going to scramble up some eggs. So you're going to get either 2 to 3 eggs per day that you want to get out of this casserole. So what I mean by that is if you want to get 5 servings and you're going to use 3 eggs per day, you now need 15 eggs in this recipe. You can do the math and kind of figure that out. But 2 to 3 eggs per day, you're going to scramble those up, pour it over top. I actually like to add cottage cheese to this to increase the protein intake. So I'll probably throw in like a half a cup of cottage cheese in there as well. Scramble that up with the eggs, just pour it over the vegetables and the potatoes. And then I'll just sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top, bake it at 350 for about 30 minutes. And then I store that in the refrigerator. That can last up to a week. And when I'm ready to eat it, I'll just cut up a slice, warm it up in the microwave for a minute, and go ahead and eat it. Number 3 is overnight oats. Overnight oats, there are tons and tons of recipes on the internet of how you can make super fancy overnight oats. I honestly just make them kind of simple. And so you can use this as a base recipe and add to it if you want to. So what I'll do here is I'll have anywhere from a half a cup to a cup of rolled oats, depending on, how busy or intense your day is going to be. And then I will put them into like a mason jar or a bowl. A mason jar is really easy because you can make several of these at one time. I will say that I would not make more than 3 servings at a time, because if you let these go more than like 3 days, they get to be kind of slimy, which is not good. So I would just make maybe 3 jars of it. And the nice thing with the jars is you could put a lid on there and then just pull that out of the refrigerator when you're ready to eat it. It's like a little single serve ready to go. So I put the rolled oats into the jar, and then I poured just enough milk to cover the oats. And if I have chia seeds or flax seeds on hand, I'll throw in like a spoonful of that in there as well. If you are doing chia seeds, make sure you give it a good shake. Otherwise, the chia seeds can clump together and then it's not very good. Also, I'll throw just like a little spoonful of some type of nut butter in there. So almond butter or peanut butter. And then I just add a little bit of honey or maple syrup to sweeten it. And that's basically it. I just put that in the refrigerator. I make these at night, and then I pull them out in the morning, and I will have 1 jar. Sometimes I'll add some fresh fruit on top. Sometimes I just eat it the way it is. Like I said, that's my base recipe. To increase the protein, you can add a scoop of protein powder. You can also make these with Greek yogurt instead of just milk, but you will want to add some milk to it. So you'll basically do mostly Greek yogurt with enough milk just to kind of thin it out and get the oats coated in the milk. So with oats, you don't actually have to cook them when you are soaking them in the liquid. It's essentially like it's cooking them. It's just, soaking up the liquid. Okay. So number 4 is some type of egg muffin. I love this recipe from the Foodie Physician, which is called Savory Oatmeal Muffins. I've made these for many, many years, and they are delicious. It sounds kind of weird, but it's actually oats with some eggs and some sausage, like chicken sausage in there, and some peppers and a little bit of cheese. And you just mix it all together into a bowl, and then you stick them in little muffin tins. And I will link the recipe below for this, but I think these are great. You can actually use these as breakfast, or you could go ahead and have them as a snack as well. If you don't like the idea of having the oatmeal in there, you can use just eggs with cottage cheese and throw some vegetables in there. So you'll mix together, 1 to 2 eggs per muffin tin. I would probably do more like 2 eggs and about a quarter cup of cottage cheese per muffin. And then throw into a little, I use like those little silicone muffin liners, and I'll throw whatever vegetables that I have in there, a little bit of cheese, put the eggs on top, and I'll make a bunch of those, throw those in the oven and cook those for, somewhere about 20 minutes at 350. And then you just pull those out and put them in little containers. If you are not going to do the oatmeal muffins, you just want the eggs and the cottage cheese, then you do need some additional carbohydrate source. So maybe that's like a slice of toast or, some oatmeal or something along those lines. But I tend to do more so the oatmeal muffins because it gives you everything that you need in one complete package. Number 5 is chia seed pudding topped with fruit. So chia seed pudding, I know, used to be a whole big thing, and it's not, you don't hear about it so much anymore, but I think it's a great option. So what you're going to do is you're going to take about 3 tablespoons of chia seeds, put them in a mason jar, and then pour about a cup of milk over top of it. If you use Fairlife milk, that's going to give you a little bit more protein. I've also seen people use like Fairlife Core Power that has, 20 or 30 grams of protein in there, and you can certainly use that in this recipe as well. So pour that over the chia seeds. Make sure you give it a good shake because the chia seeds will clump otherwise. And then I will add different things to it, like some cinnamon, a little bit of maple syrup or some honey. And then I might even add a little bit of nut butter. And that's basically it. You can add cocoa powder to it if you want to make chocolate chia seed pudding. And you just leave it in the refrigerator overnight. You might want to go back and shake it an hour later if you can, just to make sure that those chia seeds don't clump. But then in the morning, it's like a delicious, creamy pudding. And I will put some fresh fruit on top of that and make that a breakfast. So you have 5 options here that you can easily meal prep. All you have to do is just reserve maybe 30 minutes of your time, and probably not even that for most of these recipes, to make them. And if you make a whole bunch of them at one time, you could have a good variety going. Store some in the refrigerator, store some in the freezer, like the oatmeal pancakes or the savory oatmeal muffins. You could certainly freeze those as well. And then, things like the overnight oats and the chia seed pudding, you would want to store those in the refrigerator. So lots of different options here. You can mix and match, and you won't have to worry about breakfast anymore, and you can feel super energized and well fed throughout the day. Now, if you feel like you are struggling with having enough energy throughout the day, I want you to head on over to my website. I'm going to drop the link below for you. I have an awesome giveaway for you, and that is a resource that is 3 reasons why you're running out of energy while training. This is a major problem that I see where people are running out of energy during training or after training. They just feel completely exhausted and flat out on the floor. They're not recovering well. And so I want you to download this free gift I'm giving to you, 3 reasons you're running out of energy while training. And it will explain what you can do about it and how you can get your energy back.
Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, EliteNutritionPerformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.